Massive controversy that's broken out after Nirmala Sitharaman's husband, Parakala Prabhakar, has in fact written an article in an English daily. He's taken a dig at the centre for the failing economy. Now, his article claims that while the government is still in denial mode, data is flowing uninterruptedly to the public domain, show that sector after sector is staring at a seriously challenging situation. Much less evidence is available to believe that the government has a strategy, a vision to address the challenges, unwillingness to develop its own ideas of economy. These are the concerns that Nirmala Sitharaman's husband has in fact raised in his article. Rahul Srivastava is joining us live with more details on this. Rahul, first of all, if you could break down for us as to exactly what Nirmala's husband, Prabhakar, has said in his column.
Akshita, what Mr. Prabhakar, who is a noted political commentator and economist, has been very prolific and is known for his economic views and strong writing, has very clearly indicated, I think one of the most telling comments is the absence of a roadmap. It is very categorically stated in this that there is no economic roadmap. What he is saying that the government is in a denial mode despite several collapsing indicators as far as the economic slowdown is concerned. He goes on to say that, however, the government is yet to show signs that it has come to grips with what ails the economy, and that's a very strong comment. In the next section, he goes on to say that the problem is rooted mainly in the BJP's inexplicable reluctance over the years to develop its own coherent set of ideas about the country's economy. Now, this definitely flies against what the government has been saying, that over the last 5 to 6 years, that there has been a new economic mantra being followed by the government, which is full of reforms, and not just reforms in terms of opening up the economy, but also to improve the basics, the fundamentals of the economy, say the banking sector or the taxation structure like the GST and the demonetization, with rising number of people participating in the taxation exercises. I think it goes against all that. Then he takes on the very important element is the rousing policy. What he says that there is a BJP's unwillingness to take its eye off the Nehruvian framework ball, which it continues to critique. Now, what he's trying to say that in 1991, when the nation's economy was in doldrums, our gold was mortgaged, especially after the Chandrasekhar government lasted for a certain time. It was a minority government assisted by the Congress. He says that both Narasimha Rao as Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh as the Finance Minister, pursued an economic doctrine which took the economy out of a crisis and has set the tone perhaps for what economic models can be in this country. But what he says is that the BJP is in a mode in which it totally does not show any signs of learning lessons from good economic models. And okay. I think given the fact that Mr. Prabhakar is a noted economist and a political commentator,
yes,
the government should pay heed. I think the controversy should not be that he is the husband of the current finance minister.
No, absolutely. There should be no question that that he has to, reflect what his spouse's stand is in any way. That really is not the question here. But Vivek TANKHA is joining us on this broadcast. Mr. Vivek TANKHA, what do you have to say about this article that's been put out now by Nirmala Sitharaman's husband on the economy? He's identified challenges. He's identified that the government simply isn't doing enough or recognizing that there's a crisis.
No, let me first tell you that her husband has an independent identity.
Yes.
So we shouldn't say her husband. He's a person who's an illustrious person in himself. He's an economist. He's a thinker. And anybody who is sensible would think like that. Manmohan Singh ji bailed this country out in 1991, if you remember. We were in a terrible situation at that time. But for Manmohan Singh ji, it wouldn't have happened. So all I say that if somebody is talking sense, let us at least look at his advice so that country goes on the right path. I'm going to have to put it like this.
Okay. Mr. TANKHA, completely agree with you that Mr. Prabhakar is entitled to his own political view, to his own standing, completely devoid of whether he's married to Nirmala Sitharaman or not. But having said that, sir, when you read his article, do you believe that the economic crisis that we're talking about, is being ignored by the government, or do you believe that the government is actually addressing it?
Is the government even talking about it? Who's talking about the economic crisis? You're only talking of Pakistan. But on the contrary, yesterday I was feeling very distressed as a nationalist, as a citizen, responsible citizen of this country. I'm not one of those who likes to talk things without basis. I'm a serious-minded person. And when on all the leaders only talk of Pakistan, and nobody talks of employment, nobody talks of the economic crisis, I think we are in for sad times. The emphasis today should be how to upgrade our economy, how to get more jobs, how to move people out of the poverty line. And that's more important. Pakistan is a non-issue. Pakistan is in the dumps. Imran is only doing a face-saving exercise. We don't have to worry for Pakistan. We have to worry for India.
Okay. Mr. Vivek TANKHA, thank you for joining us with your views on this broadcast. Rahul, the reason this is embarrassing for the BJP is not because Mr. Prabhakar is Nirmala Sitharaman's husband, not because this is Nirmala Sitharaman's husband putting out an opinion, but because this is a renowned voice. This is a renowned political commentator who is identifying that, look, there's a problem that needs to be addressed.
Yes, I think somewhere the fact that he is related to the current finance minister, I think definitely will become a talking point, because what Mr. Prabhakar is actually going on to say is that the BJP does not have really an economic model. What he also says is that, for example, the BJP has constructs like the integral humanism. Now, integral humanism is a line which the BJP has drawn from Deendayal Upadhyay, one of the greats of the Sangh Parivar, BJP's pantheon of political leaders and thinkers.
Yes.
But he says that all this cannot be the option to an economic model. What he says is that the BJP should not get into a limiting agenda, and it should actually embrace, like Sardar Patel, ignored by the Congress, was co-opted by the BJP. There is a wonderful suggestion that why shouldn't the BJP co-opt Narasimha Rao, the Prime Minister in 1991, who has never been touched much by the BJP Congress party, and that would actually give the BJP a reason to co-opt all the economic measures or the policies Narasimha Rao had changed, perhaps to change the infirmity in the economy right now.
Okay, Rahul, just stay with us. Let's get in the first BJP reaction also on this. Mr. Narendra TANEJA is joining us on this broadcast. Sir, your initial comments on what Mr. Parakala Prabhakar has said in his column. He stated that the government right now is in complete denial over the slowdown in the country.
Well, you see, he's entitled to his views, but at the same time, it seems that, he doesn't really understand, A, how BJP functions, the ideology of BJP, philosophy of BJP, and all the good work that is going on. You see, as far as, integral humanism is concerned and all that, that's the ideology that BJP follows. And all I will recommend to him is to study Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay ji more, and then he will probably reach to the right conclusion. With regard to his take on P.V. Narasimha Rao, Dr. Manmohan Singh's architecture, to be very honest, first of all, we have never said anything against Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao or his kind of reforms and all that. But at the same time, we know to say that was an architecture probably is a little bit, too far-fetched, because what Mr. P.V. Narasimha Rao, when he moved into power, he saw the economy was in a bad shape. The country's gold, had been sent to England, in order to get some money, and so on and so forth. So that was basically a reaction and immediate measures that P.V. Narasimha Rao had directed Dr. Manmohan Singh to take.
But sir, there were measures that were taken that were needed at that time, as you've recognized. Whereas now there are questions about whether the government is in denial over what's happening, simply because you have statements by union ministers, the likes of which they state that movies are still doing well, so the economy is fine.
No. you see, I mean, he had taken that statement back. But to say that Dr. Manmohan Singh and P.V. Narasimha Rao in 1991 actually offered an architecture, that's too far-fetched. That there was no architecture. It was in crisis management, and they did a good job that time. But as far as we are concerned, there is a global economic slowdown. There are some challenges for us as well. We are not denying that. But if you look at the measures that we have already taken, and if required, we will take more measures. The fundamental is structurally economy is in a very good shape, and economy is doing very well. Yes, there are some challenges. We recognize them. And we are addressing them. But to compare 2019 with 1991 clearly shows that, one has very poor understanding of economy. 2019, our economy is doing well.
Okay, so you're maintaining that it is a poor understanding of the economy to compare now with an... Okay,
absolutely.
all right.
Very poor understanding.
Okay, Mr. Narendra TANEJA, thank you for joining us with your perspective and your opinion on this. Majid Memon of the NCP is joining us on this broadcast. Mr. Majid Memon, do you tend to agree with what Mr. Parakala Prabhakar has said here, that not just is the government in denial, but he's also advised that Manmohan Singh's and Narasimha Rao's model must be embraced?
Well, I think this is a time for the Honorable Finance Minister. I respect her womanhood. I respect, her as a lady. But I must put in a word of advice that she must now turn to the Home Minister, not our Union Home Minister, but her own better half, who has also come out like any other opposition leaders or many other economists of the country, well-wishers of the country, to ask the government and particularly to Finance Minister to have a relook at the policies which have brought whole economy of this country to shambles. And we are in such a bad shape that even for recovery, it might take quite some time and efforts. And why should you feel ashamed or you feel that you are insulted if you are asked to look at your previous predecessor of the finance, namely the economist, the Honorable Manmohan Singh,
okay,
and ponder over it and do something good for the country. You see, this kind of pretension that we are doing well, our law minister says that the economy is doing well because box offices are doing well. What is this nonsense going on? Let a finance minister turn to her own husband and then he adhere to his advice.
Okay, Mr. Majid Memon, thanks for joining us.